Hey, students, parents, this week for social studies, we're going to talk about voting. In the early days of the colonies, only white males that owned land could vote. So that meant that anybody poor couldn't vote, women couldn't vote, Native Americans couldn't vote, and African Americans couldn't vote either. Even the framers of the Constitution, our founding fathers, couldn't agree on who should vote. So they left it up to each state to decide. So this went on for almost 100 years until the 15th Amendment was ratified. The 15th Amendment says, "The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied on the account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude." And almost 50 years later, with the passage of the 19th Amendment, women were allowed to vote. The 19th Amendment says, "The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied on account of sex." And then in 1924, Native Americans were granted citizenship finally and the right to vote. Even after the Civil War, many states, especially in the South, made it very hard for African Americans to vote. They passed many laws and did many things that made it almost impossible. They limited their opportunity to actually register. They could be arrested or beaten by police if they tried to vote. There were threats of violence towards their families. Sometimes personal information was shared with groups like the KKK or employers to intimidate them into not voting. They also had unfair tests and sometimes taxes that they had to pay, and this was very difficult. All of these things were extremely unfair and made voting for African Americans very difficult, if not impossible. In 1965, the Voting Rights Act was passed. This law protected the right to vote for all citizens, and it forced the states to obey the Constitution and reinforced the 15th Amendment. So we talked about a brief history of voting and the right to vote in the United States. There are still many challenges today, but the most important thing is to be informed and to vote. I'll be posting these slides for you to look at, as well as some interactive activities and worksheets to work on. If you'd like me to post more, let me know and I'll do that. If you want to Zoom with me, just click on the link in Schoology.